This is the Game Gestures Gaming Update Podcast here on podcast 17. We're here going to try something new this one where we're live both on Twitch and Facebook this time, where we're each going to a different platform. So you can have, if you don't have Twitch, you can jump on our Facebook page or vice versa. So there's getting more out there for you to get in touch with us during our podcast here. So,
So, Jessica, you have your platform of choice, and you whatever.
you can flip between them.
Jessica the legend, man. Jessica's a legend.
So I'm gonna first jump off with one thing I was gonna save until the end, but I actually think it's gonna be a pretty good starting point. So Devil May Cry 5 that just launched today.
Today, yep. I
Yeah,
almost picked it up. I almost Redboxed it. I was so
I
tempted.
have, I almost
Went
did
by
too.
the Redbox. I
I
saw it
was
at the Redbox sitting, and I'm like, oof. I need this. I need it. And I'm like, you know what? If I get it now, I'm gonna just keep it all weekend, and this $3 rental is gonna be a $25 rental, and it's gonna turn to a $60 rental, and I can just buy the game. So
Yeah, at that point you just buy it for that. But I think if you did, it would have been good because you would have had news for it. But I've been watching podcasts, live videos. I've been watching people on Twitch play it. I've been watching all the reviews. I've been looking at it all day today, and I'm actually excited to say it's doing extremely well. Everyone I saw the reviews on, everyone I saw play it, everyone's enjoying it. The combat runs smoothly. It's really good. The cutscenes are beautiful. They put a lot of work in it. So I've been reading through all of the reviews that are wrote on them, and that's everything everyone's saying is the story is actually playing out really well, but the cutscenes are one thing that everyone's jumping on that they're saying they're really good for. It's really well done, and
not too bad because the not to cut you off there, but the PS4 Metacritic score is currently sitting at 86, so that's not terrible. Not like the greatest, but it's anything above 85 is usually considered good on Metacritic. So
yeah, I mean, we had there's a few things. Get this moved up over here. There's a few games that like I thought did really bad and they get really high score, and then there's other games that got I thought were really good and they get a low score, and vice versa. So I'm always iffy with that, but I'm glad
I mean,
this one's up there. And
it is keeping in. It is mostly, for the most part, keeping in check with where Devil May Cry ranks on Metacritic. It's usually, for the most part, from what I've been seeing, what I'm looking at on Metacritic right now, it is a lot of, mid 80s for a lot of their games. So it's right on. So if you think all the other ones are good and that has a good Metacritic score right there, then just
yeah, so one thing I'm happy that it's doing really well and it's going to sell really well because this might be the final. It might be. They might do more, but this one they're hinting might be the last one of the franchise. They're probably talking about Dante parting ways. I'm hoping they're not killing him off in the end of this or something like that.
I don't think they're gonna kill him off. I think he'll have a send off because that's a character that you kind of want to keep. Well, but then again, with the mythology of the game and everything, you could kill him off and just bring him back. So it's not like it's even if they
True.
do
I
kill
mean,
him off,
if he
it's
dies,
like,
where's he go? Hell, and he's already come back from there.
yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's the worst thing, but I do think this is going to be the end of the end of his story. And I don't know. I haven't seen the game. I haven't seen like how it ends or anything. I've been trying to avoid the endings and the spoilers just because I do want to play through it and be surprised.
Yeah.
So
I've only been watching beginning game stuff, like the people doing the first like 2 levels and that. I haven't watched anything after because I don't want to get any big spoilers myself. But
yeah, so
it
we're
does
definitely
look really good.
gonna see
And
and keep following this. And
there is something I think is really interesting the way they did, and that's Let me set this up here to get it going. They went and for this game. Ah, crap! There's ad. Hold on. We don't want ads in a live stream here.
yeah, YouTube has been ad friendly lately. Not ad friendly, like ad.
So they added in that a new feature where they're actually you can change it back and forth, but they have the cutscenes, they have the original and a live action cutscene form. As you can see, if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube when it's posted afterwards, you'll see right now as I'm showing you that they have all the cutscenes are actually a live action form of the cutscene. and it's really interesting. They have it set up so you can, if you don't want to see this, you want to play the game originally, you can beat the game, see the original cutscene, and afterwards you unlock it all. And look at this. This is funny. They use little action figures of the people in the combat scenes, and I found this hilarious. The little cardboard truck, all of these things.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
watching this, and it was incredibly silly. Definitely, they put a lot of work in it. It was definitely worth a watch because of how funny and goofy and just how good that they did with this. And it's funny that they added this into their actual game.
It looks really like it's very unexpected, and it's like kind of like you definitely don't expect to see it. I like it. I like that it's it kind of takes the not that it just takes the piss, but it takes like you know it's not it doesn't treat itself so seriously like it's this big that they're allowing themselves to have fun with it. That's what I like. And by the
Yeah,
way, if you're watching this on Facebook, this was on Twitch. We were showing a little video gameplay to go along with it here. So if you're not watching on Twitch, check it out right now to see what we're talking about. I'm too
we're
lazy to
live
look it
on
up on.
twitch.tv/video game gesture. And we might do this from our future podcast on Twitch. I might show what I'm doing now, a little clip of what we're talking about here.
It's definitely cool. We'll have to correlate the clips together so I could also just show it over. I like it. It's cool. It's a
Yeah,
little
this is our
fun
first
little
trial and error.
fun little unique twist. I must have take. Well, take works too, but a little twist on it. I like it.
But
Dude, this game looks amazing though.
it does
I
look incredible.
you were like teasing the hell out of me with this. Like I hate that I buy Redbox and didn't pick it up. Now I might have to go back out and pick this up. But the problem is I'll be playing it all night. And there's games that I have in my back catalog that I want to
Oh,
play.
me too. Huge
Especially
list.
since both EA and I think Ubisoft are doing a huge massive sale on PS4 right now. So
Oh, are they? I haven't seen that. I've
oh
actually been
yeah.
all on PC lately, so I haven't even been on the PS4 yet.
Yeah, like Watch Dogs 2, I've been meaning to pick that up for the longest time. Still haven't played it, but $8.99 on EA's sale, and Ubisoft has something. I think Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like $14.99 or $19.99, which is a really good price for a game that just came out in October and hasn't really seen much of a price drop.
Yeah.
So there was a few others that were on my list. And I'm like, oh god.
Huh. But we're gonna jump on to our next topic. I actually have something a little. It's a small little
Here's a
thing.
little tip for you.
Getting hit with ads. That's one thing we'll have to fix up with this ad
Yes,
galore.
we'll just have to like create a Google Red account or whatever they call it now.
Ah,
Do that
true.
ad free, ad free. I had a professor just complaining about this the other day, showing videos, and was like, "Is this another effing ad?" And I couldn't believe he said that, which was. I
So,
think it was like a self thought, but it was out loud and it was amazing.
so to correlate with the trailer we got now, as you see now, J.R.R. Tolkien, we got two things that's going with this. I believe I mentioned before, it's still not a set date yet, but the Lord of the Rings TV show is still set in production. It has been suggested that there's going to be the new series, which is already the most expensive series ever produced. It's over a 250 million budget for a TV show.
And what is this on HBO, Showtime? Is this like a?
I don't think they didn't really pick where this is going to be set up yet. It's still way too early to show.
Because this is screaming HBO to me right now. If this is this footage from the actual thing, or is this
No,
something
the
different?
footage I'm showing the trailer right now. This is a different movie. This is J.R.R. Tolkien movie, which is based around his life, how he was inspired, his war stories, what he did when he was growing up, how he came to write the books that he did, how he wrote the languages that he did.
Huh.
This is a story all on his biography about his history, where he came from, and so this is what I figured this would tie in perfectly since he's the creator, and then I will talk about the Lord of the Rings here. And I have quite a few things here to talk about it. Let me pull up actually. I'm going to show you a little map
This
if I
looks
can
like
get this.
something- This looks familiar. This looks.
Well, it's
The inspiration is another inspiration they're drawing from, and I can't think of it because I've seen this and I'm like, it's
yeah.
driving me nuts, and I can't figure it out. I'll figure it out later, like I usually do in these situations.
Yeah, so the TV show could follow a young Aragorn on his way to becoming the Ranger that we knew him in Lord of the Rings, which leads him to become the King of Gondor. Um, so there's certain things that are mentioned, which if you want to, there's a little map I'm going to pull up in a second here that is correlated with the TV show, showing what's going on, and it shows things such as things you found on the map by scrolling around uh, Minas Ithil and Minas Anor, which fans of the film and the book might remember them differently. They were now called Minas Tirith and Minas Morgul in the movies, which shows where this could take place because these things were named, these ones that we see on the map, during the Second Age, which was way before the movies and all that, which you show that this TV show could take place long ago before and showing like a young Aragorn growing up into it during the Second Age.
So
And
with that all the things, what do you think is going to go on with this? Do you think it's going to be as successful as say like the movies were, or is it something that's going to be like, you know, this is hard to do, or do you think it's better as better to in a TV kind of universe, a small screen, because now you have more than just a couple hours to tell a story. You have a whole season of an hour's worth of 20 episodes.
well, I think TV shows work a lot better. So I'm excited for it, and I always loved Lord of the Rings. So I'm really hyped. I'm hoping that they do this TV show really well. And I'm see that's one thing though. They really drew out the Hobbit, I thought, and I thought that could have been done a lot shorter than it was. But in the end, I still really liked it. I'm hoping that the TV show does really well as well.
So for the TV show, you think we have anybody returning from, or did they confirm anyone's like, oh my god, what is his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Oh my god, why am I blanking on the guy's name from Lord of the Rings?
Wait, which one?
I completely blanked on his name.
The actor who played, or
Yeah, and he's one of the main actors. I
you
have to
talking
Google
about
this
Viggo?
because it's driving me nuts. Oh my god, why is?
Viggo, the guy who played Aragorn.
Oh my god, I'm not. It's.
Well, anyway, we'll move on. So there's
We can never move on. I must figure this out. No, we can move on. It's not the biggest of deals to me to get this guy's name right, but it's just.
but I have the map up showing all the places where it's
Oh, it
going
is
to take
Viggo.
place.
Yes, it is Viggo. Oh my god.
Yeah, Viggo played
He had such a
Aragorn.
weird name and I couldn't remember it. Oh my god.
But so if all their plans go well, they plan to release this TV series around 2021. They said they still have, with the huge budget they got going, they have a lot to still set up. They're going to do huge rework on setting up the scenery, the landscape, getting the characters, getting everything. They put a lot of work in the Lord of the Rings stuff. So we have a long time to wait for this yet, but we know that they have a huge budget and we can look forward to a lot of good stuff coming for it.
Well, the thing I hope with that is I hope that they don't just use the huge budget, go through all of this, and then it becomes a thing that gets shelved after they spend millions. You know,
Lord of the Rings has the big name, so I really don't think that we might have that problem with this.
yeah, I would
But
hope not, because that would be terrible. But it wouldn't happen either with these big budget things that you never know if they're going to see the light of day, especially when they have no official. But it
yeah.
really.
But speaking of what's it, TV shows and movies and stuff, we still have, while we have that, a long time to wait for the Lord of the Rings TV show. We can look forward to Netflix doing the Legend of the Zelda TV show they got, the Halo TV show that should be coming out. I think it was early next year. The game is the end of this year. Halo TV show sometime next year. The
This is all
movies.
sarcasm.
No, this is all real. Movies, we got Sonic the Hedgehog movie. As you see, I got a little bit here. We don't see much, but a little bit of Sonic here. And the Super Mario Brothers, which that's one set for 2021 or 22.
I think it was 2021, because it was like 3 years out yet, so maybe it was 2022.
Yeah, so I know we still have a long time to wait, but we're getting a lot of
But
TV shows coming our way.
we do have Detective Pikachu coming out,
That's true.
which was
I forgot.
weird because the movie looks way better than the game was, because the game was weird and very short and not much going on in it. Like it was a very easy game. It was one of the easier games. There wasn't much going on, but the movie looks amazing in comparison to the game. So I don't.
Yeah, I did hear complaints about the game that for that reason they took combats out. There was no more Pokemon battles, and
It was just weird. It was like this weird side story where you were trying to you were picking up like these really easy clues, and like there was no challenge in it at all. It was just like everything was pretty much handed to you. So if you weren't getting it, it was just kind of like nudging you in the right direction, like, "Hey, dumbass," you know. But
Huh.
yeah, it wasn't. But I mean, a lot of like what you see in the clips of the movie, like the dumb boy trying to attack someone with a stapler, like that happens in the game. So it was very, it looks like it's very much taking a lot from the game. So where he's like, "I'm not afraid to use this." Again, like, what are you gonna do with a stapler? Are you gonna staple them to death? Like,
yeah,
but yeah, we saw a lot of that in. I don't know. We'll see what's going on with all of that. I mean, I'm also looking to the Mario movie because it's got a great studio behind it, so it's gonna do well, I think. So
possibly. We'll have to wait for
that's
that one to see. That one's a whiles out yet, though.
yeah, it's not, we say that now, but then we'll be like, wow, we just felt like we were just talking about that yesterday, and it's really been 3 years.
Yeah. So jumping in my next topic here, we got just released, and if you've read through the patch notes in the Sony software version 6.5, in these patch notes it shows that there's introducing remote play, and
Yes,
means
I was going to bring this up to you, and I'm glad you brought it up because
yeah, since they dropped their PS Vita officially, it's confirmed that they're done. They brought in now. Since it's no longer supported, they're moving on to mobile now. The PS4 can directly.
starting with iOS, unfortunately, but because everything starts with iOS, which is stupid.
Well, yeah,
But
so that's where directly to your mobile device, but right now only for the iOS. So, but that's where it kind of ties into another thing I'm about to say. The Android doesn't get it yet, but it's also bad news for fans of the DualShock controller because apparently they won't correctly sync to the iOS device like they do with the Android when they're playing on the Android. When people play Fortnite,
that's one of the things I was reading as well. But I mean, have you played around with remote play with anything? I've sometimes used it on my desktop, but
yeah, I've played around with for the DualShock. I've connected it with the remote play. I play with the remote play with Vita, and now I never play with the Android yet. But there's also they were stating that there is no way that the DualShock 4 will ever be able to update and pair to the iOS device unless Apple radically reworks the iOS, because they're looking the way the iOS software is set up, it blocks all that kind of connection. So they need to completely change.
What they need to do is they need to see what Android has been doing for the last 5 years, and then just be like, oh, okay, well now we can implement that, like they always do. So
yeah, pretty much that's what they need to.
So now that remote play is coming to that, it should be working correctly by 2024.
Maybe. I mean, they should just jump right into Android or something. But Apple, this isn't the first one we've seen. I forget what they all were, but a lot of times Apple has blocks on their software that prevents. They're trying to make it safety, but it ends up backfiring and stopping them from getting a lot of this stuff come their way.
And it's unfortunate too, because it doesn't. That's why a lot of people go to Android optimization options with Android. You have a lot more flexibility with what it's like jumping through hoops if you even want to download third-party apps on Apple. Like, whereas in Android, you just hit, oh, allow this app. It might infect your phone. That's okay. But and then Apple, on the other hand, they're like, no. This will infect your phone. We're doing you a favor by not allowing you to install this. So it's like.
Yep, I've never gotten the virus on my Android yet, though.
Neither have I. And I've had several different versions of Androids throughout the year, and never once had any kind of, weird malware thing where, Momo came up and told me to kill myself, or oh, wait, that's not a virus. That's just
Hmm. But
show Momo right now.
since we're on Sony topic and Sony not going to E3, another big person has pulled out.
Yeah.
And I'll
Well,
let you
I don't
take
know
this guy.
if you want to call this big. I mean,
Well,
they probably couldn't charge people enough to they probably had to buy a ticket to their presentation, but then that ticket only lets you stand in line, and then you had to like buy another ticket to unlock the chance to get into the auditorium, because that's how EA works.
but also the air inside. If you want to breathe that, you had to pay for that.
Oh yeah, otherwise they're gonna just pump carbon monoxide throughout, and you
Plus,
have to pay extra for the monoxide.
they said everyone was going to stand in there, but then you'd have to buy the DLC to actually see the show that they were going to perform.
Oh, of course, of course. But yeah, no, this is just EA. They're saying, of course, that they're skipping the press conference this year and replacing it with multiple live streams that will air during the first 2 days of the event. So, kind of, I guess, maybe like what Nintendo does with the Direct, not having a live conference, but having, like how Nintendo does their Direct and then they do like their Treehouse thing. I'm assuming it's going to be the same way with that.
Probably.
They're still doing EA Plays Fan Fest, so
It seems everyone's starting to break away from that route, and E3 is slowly dropping down, and it seems everyone's kind of going off in their own direction, their own kind of way of coming about this.
It sounds like they still have a presence at the show, but they're not doing a live, a thing, just a live. They're just doing a stream in advance, but they're not gonna be having the stage show like basically just Microsoft at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think they're the Microsoft and Ubisoft are probably the only ones doing a live show this year.
Yeah, it seems that way. It's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, because Sony didn't even announce if they're even doing anything like during that, if they have any kind of press conference or anything.
They had early this year. They had some kind of showing where they showed off a bunch, and that they're more for pressing for the future kind of things. They do have something else coming up in the future. I forgot what it is. A Sony like kind of their own little show.
So maybe like the Sony Experience that they canceled last year, because in September every September they do the Sony Experience show or whatever it's called, and then they may have just decide to forego it last year, but maybe they have something for this year. But they do have The Last of Us 2 coming out, and I think Death Stranding is that a PS4 exclusive, or is that?
I believe last I checked that was, so it should.
So, I mean, there's those two. Those are the big ones, and that's it. And what else did they announce last year that hasn't come out or hasn't? Really
I know
come out?
they have a God of War 2 continuing on the story. That's going to be a big one that they have coming out. And
sorry for the clanking here.
And I know PlayStation, they're currently leading the market by a big amount in the VR market, so they're going to be pushing a lot of VR games too, which is good because there's a lot of.
I have Ghetto VR news too, by the way.
What's your Ghetto VR?
Ghetto. But before I get to that, I was just looking up to see what Sony showed off at E3, and I completely forgot. There was The Last of Us 2. There was Ghost of what was this? Tsushima?
Yeah, that actually, it's kind of following the ways of like Dark Souls games. It's supposed to be taking over them and being a new, really hard type of game.
That hasn't come out yet, as far as Control. I forgot all about Control.
Yeah, no.
Resident Evil 2 was shown off. That came out. Kingdom Hearts obviously came out. Death Stranding has not come out. Nioh 2 has not come out. Spider-Man came out. That's pretty much the highlights. But yeah, my Ghetto VR news. Nintendo kind of experimenting with it a little bit through their Labo thing that they got, that cardboard thing. So basically, if you've ever used the Google Cardboard VR, it's kind of literally Google Cardboard VR. Nintendo's releasing a VR kit, and they haven't said much about it other than it's coming out in April. It has this goofy looking cardboard camera peripheral thing, and a lot of people are now demanding that they do Pokemon Snap. So
In a
but like
cardboard
yeah,
box.
yeah, they're still trying to make Labo. There's a weird elephant one. I don't know what the hell that is. There's yeah, they're trying to make Labo a thing. It's just not taking off. Labo has had its place more on the educational route, as I talked about in the past, with like elementary schools to just teach kids how to code. That's the best usage of Labo so far. It's not like a mainstream thing, like how like Wii Fit was kind of a slow moving thing at first, but then kind of exploded. It's not like, but Nintendo does that. They'll do these useless peripherals throughout time that and they stand behind them, like the Power Glove, the Nintendo robot thing, and oh my god, what else have they had over the years? A lot of gimmicky things like that that they stick with, and they stick with until they die.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, they certainly do.
but that's just about it. They're calling it the VR Toy-Con set. Like I said, it comes with like this weird rocket launcher thing, and I don't know. It's weird. I want them to actually like kind of, if they were going into VR, I want them to go serious route with it, but I don't think they're doing right now. So
So I don't really see, not to insult them, but I don't really see Nintendo having the capability. It's great. I didn't even think they'd have the capability to do the mobile console controller like they did, even though they dominate in mobile. I didn't think they'd be able to do the technology to get a console, but I don't see them having the capabilities of doing VR.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're gonna go full fledged with it. I think it's just gonna be contained to this Labo kit, and that's I mean, they were ahead of the curve. If you think about like, if you look at the Virtual Boy, and that tanked so hard, but that was a thing that was like 20 years before its time. Nobody like the idea of VR back then was cool, but nobody wanted to do it in a red monochrome, nauseating headache.
No.
So, if they had the capability of doing full color, it still would have been a little hokey looking back in the day because of how limited, graphics were back then, but it might have actually done a little better if they had waited like maybe 10 years, but I don't know. That's it for that. I mean, that's it for that VR news. I do have
So
other Nintendo news to touch upon, but we can get to that later.
I just want, before we do that, two last movies, since we touched TV shows and movies, two more, a TV show and a movie that'll be coming out. The both really soon that are really highly hyped. The one, April 14th, 2019, the highly anticipated, we didn't get it last year. They skipped it and they're putting it out this year. The season finale of Game of Thrones coming out April 14th.
Yeah, they did skip that last year. I remember that. I remember a lot of people were pissed off about that too, because they
Yeah.
wanted to just skip. But
They
I'm
wanted,
kind of glad they waited a bit because sometimes you need that break in between.
and the second one, as you've been watching, if you're on Twitch and all that, Endgame coming out April 26th of 2019. The finale, again, a lot of finales we have coming out.
And
This
this
is
is
the
the last season
finale.
of The Walking Dead is ending well. No,
No, they're still
telling me that,
continuing. They got another season coming out.
they had another
It is.
season. I thought you were saying something about a spin-off, or did I imagine this?
There is a spin-off. It's not the finale of the show. So what's happening with The Walking Dead, Rick left the show and he's doing a three-stage movie where he's done with the show for good, and he's gonna do a three-part movie which is gonna follow what happens in the show, but off on his own. It's gonna take place like 10 years into the future of the show. The TV show will still continue and play its normal route like it normally has. And now, so that'll keep going. But the one that is coming to an end, the Arrow TV show, that's
Yes, I
getting its
just
final
read.
conclusion. And it's only
Which
10 episodes
this
long.
this is a weird one because this isn't a Disney thing. So, but I guess it's time to wrap that story up though. With
See, I thought after season like 5, it started getting kind of bland and all that, and it became more of a drama than anything. So it's about time to wrap Arrow up. But he did say that the actor Stephen Amell, he did say it's not the end of Arrow, his character himself. He will still be coming back in the other people's show, and he will have other things coming up for him.
he's moving to professional wrestling now. He's going to be with AEW.
No, just that one time. but he will still be in the Flash and all
Well,
the
he
other
did that. He
shows.
did
The
it a couple
Batgirl
other
just starting up.
times. Actually, he did a couple appearances outside of like he did this one indie show where he wrestled with Cody Rhodes, and they did some sort of thing together, and he joined the Bullet Club, and that was a big thing. And I didn't follow it too closely, but you know, he improved a lot from where I mean, he did a good appearance from when he was there, but the problem I had was he wasn't very good at selling the moves, but he was good at performing the moves. But he improved heaps. But I don't know if that's in his future. So
I don't think so. He
look it up,
mentioned
watch it, you'll see.
I'll pass, but he will be still coming on to the, and I have high hopes with the other shows coming to a conclusion that they're going to start doing like what they do with the other shows, all intertwining. They should bring all the shows together into one show since they're going to be wrapping up Flash pretty soon. That'll be finishing up as well, so they'll be able to bring the characters all over together into one show.
So I'm just wondering if Disney's also trying to acquire, you know, all these other, and have it there be their streaming service be the go-to for all of that. But
Maybe Disney's got the money. They're trying to take the way that they can.
over the world, take over the world. But so is that all you got for movie news?
Yeah, that's it for the movie news.
What else you got for me?
My final thing I have is anyone fan of with the Blizzard, there's Diablo 1 is coming
Yes.
back and it'll be available to buy again on GOG.com. GOG has been buying up the license for all the old forgotten games and bringing them back, like Empire Earth, all these ones that I used to play a long time ago. So they already have plans to buy Warcraft, Orc and Humans, and Warcraft 2 to bring them, and they're also hinting at getting Diablo 2. Even though Diablo 2 is still around and it's up, they're working on buying it out. They're working with Blizzard now to bring that over too. So Diablo
And I'm
1,
pretty sure Blizzard's at the point where they'll just give it because they're.
well,
What's
they
going
said
on
they're
with
not
them?
struggling. They're not struggling for money. They're not hurting.
Sure, Jan.
But so
Keep
as
saying that.
I'm excited because just last month I even went. Actually, 1 second here.
This will be the in between where I talk.
I went
There we
and
go.
got my whole Diablo box set where I was trying to play Diablo, get it all installed, but it wasn't working on their servers well. So now it'll be cheap and easy to get it on GOG.com.
Hey, that's like my life. Cheap and easy, man. Cheap and easy. So the only final thing I had was, well, if that's all you had for Diablo, because I was reading about that. I was going to mention it to you, and I'm glad you brought it up because I completely forgot about it until you brought it up. So
Yeah. That's all I got.
that's how you roll today. I know I touched upon Friday the 13th on the Switch. That was, you know, a shock of an announcement for some, especially following Dead by Daylight. But the difference here is allegedly Friday is supposed to actually run. So I don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, I'm very skeptical to see if they're gonna pull this off. They say Black Tower is handling it, and they're determined to get it looking good. They were making sure that, you know, things that, you know, there were certain things that were going on in the game, like this guy fires a flare gun while 2 other people are beating up on Jason. They were making sure that the screen could handle all that action going on, and then they had said about things people were asking questions. They did a whole question and answer thing, and one of the big things was proximity of voice chat. They're using the Switch's native capability of it, the same system that Fortnite used for voice chat. They actually working with the same people. They're like, hey, you know, you did it for Fortnite, do it for our game. So I don't know. They're supposed to be showing off gameplay within the next week or 2. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm very skeptical right now, but I don't know. I'm just kind of, I would like to see it do well, just so, you know, Gun Media can get their, you know, even more money. But they
And then run
allegedly-
away again.
Yes, they allegedly aren't charging full price either. Allegedly going to be like a $20-$30 game depending when it comes out.
See, I would
It's
hope
like-
so. If it's a port, no port should ever be full price.
Yeah.
ports are
they,
not
they
done
said
well.
they said they're not going to go full price with it because it wouldn't be fair to, especially when they can't even. Let me rephrase that. Especially when they're not adding new content. So
Yeah.
because they can't.
Even though they've been given permission to.
Oh yeah, I feel like there's. Oh yeah, they even got Victor Miller's blessing.
Yeah, you see, he put a tweet out where he said, "I've never once stopped them from doing all of this. They put it on themselves. I just wanted my recognition and kind of thing." Where
Yep, I don't have updates about the lawsuit either. It's been very standstill, as far as I know. The appeal could have been filed, and it has yet to be it has yet to be a file. No, it has yet to be filed. When you combine appeal with file, that's what you've got filed.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got for that. I've been following it and see if the gameplay video checks out. Hopefully, it's better looking than Dead by Daylight. But kind of if you think about it, Friday is not a very huge, like, visual intensive game in regards to, because there's still times I feel like I'm playing it that I'm playing like a kind of like a PS3 type game. So
yeah, it's kind of thumbed down a little bit, but
yeah, it's not a very visually intense game. So not as goofy as the Dead by Daylight looking thing. So we'll see.
By
By the
Daylight.
way, Dead by Daylight has. Oh yeah, Dead by Daylight's coming to Switch too, and that has new DLC coming sometime. They still don't even have dedicated servers, so they gotta
See,
get their crap together.
I'm not too surprised about that one, since Dead by Daylight is dominating the whole, what's it, 4v1, 5v1, 4v1 market. They're dominating that. They're above everyone else. Their sales are high. They're doing really well. They're always working on their game. They're constantly adding new content, new everything. They're really up there. They're the number one in that 4v1 market game.
Yeah, I mean for now. I mean until last year, the Nightmare is supposed to be due on sometime this summer or this fall. So
what's that? The DLC map pack?
that's that game that you wanted to check out a while ago. Takes place in the high
That's
school.
already out though. I've been playing that.
Yeah. Well, it's out on PC.
Oh right, yeah. I've been playing on PC.
But it's not out on console yet. Allegedly they're putting it on console this year. I was gonna get it, but it's not worth $30. So
no, I can't say it was fun for a little bit, but it's not going to compete with Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, unless they come out with some sort of deal. I've been hearing that. I've been hearing as far as replay value.
Yeah.
But then again, I kind of feel the same way about. See, a lot of people. I don't want to go into too much into this, but a lot of people say like Dead by Daylight is this amazing game, and it's okay, but it's like for me, after a few rounds, I'm like, this is boring. All I'm doing is fixing generators and exiting.
So that's how all of those kind of 4v1s are.
But then people are like, oh no, there's so much depth to it. You have to, if you have the right perks, then blah blah blah. And I'm like, I just don't see it.
There is. You do have to level up a lot, and then you get. Yeah. You have to build your character the correct way, and.
I guess if it's fun if you have the right people. You're playing with the right people. So that's where I'll leave it with that because we have to wrap up because we are running out of time.
Yeah. So we're gonna end the show with that, and if you're, well. For the YouTube ones, we're gonna
end on a rant. Always good to end on a rant. Remember that.
Yeah, keep them coming back. So, hope you like this podcast, and we'll be sure to check us out next week. And until then, have a good night.
Yes. And a quick note before we end, before the music plays. We did draw a winner on the Facebook for that contest, and be on the lookout for. So congratulations to it was Alex something. I can't remember the name exactly, but I should remember. I just sent out the damn thing today, and I should remember what I sent it to. But
yeah,
congratulations again to Alex for participating in the contest and winning. We thank you for your support, and we will be doing another contest soon. And I cannot tell you what it is yet because we are planning it.
Probably, if you check back, probably episode 20, we're going to talk about it. And probably for celebration of 20 episodes, we'll probably do something for that.
And coincidentally, our 20th episode will be the week of 420, so we will be... No, I'm kidding. Actually, it probably won't be.
It's 1920. No, it won't. Too early.
Well, that's when they will legalize recreational for the United States on 420. There you go.
I could see it. It would be a good way to go.
Do it. that would be the day to do it. I'm telling you.
Right?
All right.
Until then, see you all next week.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you.